Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video we'll be unpacking the WARCRY Gloomspite GITZ card pack. A lot of these WARCRY card packs are pretty difficult to get hold of now, and the Gloomspite GITZ is one of those, but I managed to find it on eBay, and so I picked it up, and I really like having the cards for the WARCRY Warbands. Even though we've got everything we need in the supplement books now, it's still nice to have the cards, and certainly when you're playing, it makes a big difference. So I won't be able to put any links to Element Games for this particular product in this video, but yeah, just check out Amazon, look on eBay, and keep an eye out in your local game stores, and I'm sure you'll get lucky one day and pick up the Gloomspite GITZ card pack if that's something that you're interested in. In this video we'll open the pack, we'll go through all the cards so you can see exactly what's included, and we'll go through them one at a time, taking a look at the different fighter types, their stats and abilities. So the artwork and the branding for WARCRY is great, and on the pack here it looks like we've got the Spiker from the Gobapalooza, and whoever this guy is looks like a loon boss of some kind. And then on the back we just get the faction rune mark, and it doesn't give us any other details about what we're getting to get inside. So I'm not sure how many cards are in here, so let's open it up and we can find out. So the Gloomspite GITZ are the only WARCRY set I haven't managed to find yet, so I'm pretty excited to get that set. But in the meantime, at least I've got the cards to get on with, and so let's get this open and see what's inside. And there we go, we're going to get all our ability cards, and these are going to come in all the different languages. So you can see we get loads of different languages there. We only need the English, so I'll just put those to one side for now. And then on the back of the fighter types we're going to see all the abilities that we can use with the Gloomspite GITZ. And then we're also going to get our Gloomspite GITZ cards. We're going to get, as standard, 2 of these duplicate cards. So if we want to use one fighter type, but we've got a number of models and there's only one card for that fighter type, then we can use these duplicate cards. And then we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different fighter types in the card pack. Now if you've seen the videos I've just done, part 1 and 2, where I did a deep dive on the Gloomspite GITZ, then you'll know that there's a ton more fighter type options available to us. But let's see exactly which ones we're going to get in this card pack. So here are all the different fighter types that are included in this card pack. So we're going to see the Boingrop Boss, the Boingrop Bounder, the Squig Hopper Boss, the Squig Hopper, the Stabber with Poking Spear. We're going to get another Stabber, a Shooter, a Cave Squig, a Moon Clan Boss, a Stabber with Barbed Net, and a Squig Herder. So nice selection there. And if you've seen the other videos, you know I've got the set of Zarbags GITZ, the Underworld set. So a lot of these figures from the Squig Herder right along the bottom here, and the Stabber with Poking Spear, these are going to be pretty much included, and we can make use of them from that set. And also I've got the Squig Herder and Cave Squig set, so I can get most of these used in it. But to make use of this I will need a pack of Squig Hoppers, which you can also build as Boingrop Bounders. So with those 2 sets you can pretty much build all these different fighter types and make use of all these cards, so that's great news. In the original WARCRY box set for the Gloomspite GITZ, which I haven't picked up yet, I think you get most of these cards, but you also get the card for the Sneaky Snuffler, and so that's one that's missing here, which is a shame. I would have liked to have seen that in this card set, because I really like the Sneaky Snuffler as a model. I would like to include it in my warband, but we'll have to take the details for that and go through the fighter card and abilities from the book, and we can use the Harbingers of Destruction book for that. So any other models you want to include, then we can find all that information in the Harbingers of Destruction. And if we flip this card over, we're going to see all the different abilities that are available to the Gloomspite GITZ, and so all of them are going to have this rune mark, which is the Gloomspite GITZ faction rune mark, and so they're all going to be able to use the double Backstabbing Mob and the quad Sneaky Stab. So let's go through these 2 abilities first, and then we know then as we go through the video that all the fighters can use it. So the first one is this double Backstabbing Mob. A fighter can use this ability only if there is a visible friendly fighter within 1 inch of them. Until the end of this fighter's activation, add 1 to the attacks and strength characteristics of attack actions made by this fighter that have a range characteristic of 3 or less. So for a double, this is really great, and to be open to all the different fighters, no matter the points value, I think this is a really great ability that they can all make use of. Adding 1 to attack and strength is going to be really great, and when you consider how powerful the Cave Squig and Squig Hoppers are, that's going to be even better. But it's also going to strengthen the weaker players and those lower fighters at 45 points. So that's a great one. But we've also got this quad called Sneaky Stab. This fighter makes a bonus move action. Then they can make a bonus attack action. In addition, if the fighter targeted by that attack action is within 1 inch of this fighter, and the value of this ability to the damage points allocated by hits and critical hits from that attack action. So for a quad, that we're going to get a bonus move and attack action. That's pretty standard. We see that even with the universal abilities. But in addition, the fighter targeted, if it's within 1 inch of the fighter, then we can add the value of this ability, the whole value of it, to damage points allocated by both hits and critical hits from that attack action. So we can only use it for that bonus attack action. We can't use it in any other attack actions during our activation. But that's really great. I mean, if you've got a high value ability, or even from a 3+, you could add those damage points to hits and critical hits. That's a huge quad to be using, that Sneaky Stab. And again, it's open to any of the fighters. So in any situation during the battle, you want to do some extra damage, this is really going to help you out. And if you've got a fighter that can make a good number of attacks, if their attack characteristic is quite high, then this is going to be a brilliant ability. So there we go. That's the 2 that every fighter we go through with the fighter cards in a second is going to be able to use. And then these other abilities with the different rune marks that we can see here, we'll go through those as we find them with each fighter type. And here we go, here's our first fighter. This is the Squig Herder at 45 points. He's got the faction rune mark, and he's got one other rune mark, so he's going to get an ability we haven't seen yet. He's got a movement 4, toughness 3, can take 8 wounds, and his weapon range is 1, can make 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. So this guy's certainly not going to do any damage, and for 45 points, that's to be expected. But it's this ability, this rune mark here, that's going to give him an ability that is really going to make him worthwhile adding into the warband. So let's take a look at that now. So the Squig Herder is going to get the Backstabbing Mob that we've seen and the Sneaky Stab, but he's also got this triple called Go Dat Way. Pick a friendly fighter with the Beast rune mark within 4 inches of this fighter. That fighter can make a bonus move action. So this is great. He's obviously going to be teamed up with the Cave Squigs that we're going to see a little bit later on. And so for 45 points, we get this ability we can use, team him up with a Squig Herd, and that's really great fun. Going to add some fun tactics, great narrative, and he's going to use his kind of spear to poke and push those Cave Squigs where he wants them to go on the battlefield. Our next fighter is another low point value. It's a Stabber with Barbed Net, and at 45 points we're getting yet another ability we haven't seen yet, so that's great. We've got the Gloomspite Gitz rune mark. He's got a movement of 4, toughness 3, can take 8 wounds. The weapon range is 1, 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. And so again, 45 points, we're not going to get a huge amount here, but a nice ability, so let's have a look at that. We've got a double called Barbed Net. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inches of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 3+, until the end of the battle round, that fighter cannot make move actions or disengage actions. So this is a great ability. For a 45 point fighter, to have this double ability is really good. You can root down a fighter of any size or strength and make sure that they can't move or disengage. And that's like not just once, but throughout the entire battle round. So until the end of the battle round, the fighter they target cannot make move actions or disengage actions, and all they've got to do is roll a 3+. So this is really great. What a brilliant ability for a 45 point fighter, and I think this is a great start for the Gloomspite Gitz. The points start to go up now as we're on to our shooter at 65 points. We've got the Gloomspite Gitz rune mark. He's got a movement 4, toughness 3, can take 8 wounds. His weapon range is 3 to 12, so minimum 3, maximum 12. 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit, and if he gets up close, he can stab them with a range of 1, making 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 2 on a crit. So no extra rune marks here, so no other abilities other than the 2 we've seen, But for 65 points, this is pretty standard for a ranged kind of fighter, and I think it's fun to have them in for sure. These guys are going to try and stay out of the fight as much as possible with that toughness of 3 and just snipe away at the enemy, and maybe good to use these extra abilities where they can get some extra attacks in and do some damage from a distance. So there we go, that's our shooter at 65 points. And now the points are going up to 70 as we've got a stabber with poking spear, and he's got a shield as well, so this guy's a little bit tougher. So we're going to get a toughness 4, movement 4, and can take 8 wounds. His range is a little bit extended with a range of 2 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So now we're getting a bit more toughness, and we can do a little bit more damage with this 1 to 4 on a crit now. And so with 2 attacks at 70 points, again pretty standard for that kind of point value. And that's our stabber with poking spear. And next we've got a regular stabber. He's 70 points as well. You notice he's got a shield, so we're going to get that extra bit of toughness. So toughness 4, movement 4, taking 8 wounds. Weapon range of 1 now, and that gives him an extra attack. So he can make 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So we can make more attacks, and we have to be up closer to make those attacks. But we lose a little bit on that previous fighter. We can only do 1 to 3 damage now. So for 70 points again, very standard and nothing fancy there. No extra rune marks, so it's just going to be the double backstabbing mob and the quad sneaky stab abilities that he can use. Now we're jumping up from 70 points up to a big 140, and we got this beast, the cave squig, and he's got this rune mark again for the Gloomspite Gitz. He's got the beast rune mark, so we know we can use him in conjunction with the Squig Herder. So he's not going to get any extra abilities, but he can be teamed up with the Squig Herder's ability there. He's got a movement 4, toughness 4, and can take 15 wounds. He's got a weapon range of 1, where he uses his big teeth to bite you, and he can make 4 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So for 140 points, this is pretty good. 4 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. You're going to do some damage with that for sure, and then being able to do things like the sneaky stab, that's a really great ability, where if you can add the value of the ability to the damage points, you know, and on top of that 2 to 4, you're going to do some serious damage there. And if you can get close enough at the first action of your activation, you could potentially make 3 attacks here in 1 activation. So that's going to be a huge amount of damage done by 1 cave squig, and put a couple in your warband, you're going to have a great time. So there we go, that's the first cave squig, and now the points are starting to go up, so let's go on to the next fighter. And the next fighter is now our first leader that we've seen in the pack, and this is our Moon Clan boss. And so for 150 points, we're going to get those abilities we've already seen, but he's also got the leader rune mark, so we're going to get this triple stab 'em good that we haven't seen yet. He's got a weapon range of 1, making 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit, and his movement is 4, toughness 4, can take 16 wounds. So for 150 points, that's a pretty good all-round set of statistics there. Not as good as the cave squig we just saw, who can take pretty much the same amount of damage, but his output's a little bit more and he's a bit stronger, and so you know that strength's really going to help having a 5 over a 4. But we get this leader ability, so for 10 points more than the cave squig, we're really pinning our hopes on what this ability is going to be. So let's take a look at that now. So as the leader ability, any leaders will be able to use this one. So it's a triple called Stab 'em Good. Until the end of the battle round, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of attack actions that have a range characteristic of 3 or less made by friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So that's a great ability, and if we can use this with our cave squid, then we can do some serious damage. So, I mean, these cave squigs, you just keep them within 6 inches of the leader, and then, you know, these attack characteristics are really going to shoot up and do some serious damage. So this is a great triple ability for a leader to have, and you team up with a powerful fighter who's strong with a good damage output, and yeah, you're going to do some serious damage with a relatively low point fighter there, and a low point leader as well. And now the points are really going up to 200 for our first Squig Hopper, and this guy's got the flight rune mark, one other rune mark for an ability called Boing Boing Boing, which we haven't seen yet. He's got the faction rune mark as well, so we know he's going to get this one and this one. He's got a movement of 10, and that's awesome because he can fly with that movement too. He's got a toughness 4 and can take 16 wounds. He can make 1 attack, he can make 4 attacks with a range of 1. So he's going to be biting again. 4 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So these stats here for the weapon and damage output, that's the same as the cave squig, but for that 60 points extra, you're getting 1 extra on your wounds you can take, but you're getting 6 movement that can fly as well, and plus you're getting this ability. So let's take a look at the ability now and see just why these 60 points are well worth having for a fighter like this. So here's the triple, boing boing boing, and until the end of this fighter's activation, the next time this fighter finishes a move action within 1 inch of an enemy fighter, pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter. Then allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So nice easy way of doing some damage. If you've got a 5 or 6 on your ability value, then you can straight up just allocate that number of damage points to the enemy fighter. So a really easy way to take out some damage. And and if you're close enough when you're doing 2 attack actions, that round could be seriously strong for this kind of squig hopper, which is crazy. So you've got all the power of the cave squig with that movement and this nice triple ability. So I think with 200 points, this is definitely worth it, and I'd be looking to include maybe 1 or 2 in the warband if I could, for sure. Now we're moving up to 220 points, and this is for a Boingrop Bounder, and so these are a little bit more in points value. You get the same flight rune mark and the same triple ability, but the movement isn't as much. They've got a distance of 8, but they're tougher. So they've got a toughness 5, and they can take 18 wounds. So instead of 16 that we just saw on the squig hopper, this Boingrop Bounder can take 18 wounds. Their weapon range is extended, so now they can attack from 2 inches away, and they get 3 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So the range is extended on the previous squig hopper, but they can't make as many attacks, but those attacks are going to give out a lot more damage, and they're tougher. So you can build these from the same set that you make for the squig hopper. So if you were to buy that one set, you can choose to have a mix of these, and so you've got lots of options there. And so really it's just tactically, do you want to keep a little bit of a distance, do a bit more damage, or do you want to have more attacks and cover a bit more ground like you would with a squig hopper? So that's another great option for your warband. And now we're on to the squig hopper boss, and this guy's going to come in at 255 points. He's got the triple boing 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 we've seen, he can fly, and he's got the leader ability. He's got movement 10, toughness 4, can take 22 wounds, and now this is really nice. He can have a weapon range of 1, 5 attacks, strength 5, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So that's a lot of attacks going out there, and with that flight and the distance covered, pretty powerful. For 250 points, some models in different warbands can get a lot more damage output, but I think you're getting a lot here with that flight rune mark and the distance you can travel. So pretty good, and this is a great option for a leader if you wanted to go with something like this. For 250 points, I think you do get quite a lot there. And now we're on to our final card at 265 points. This is our Boingrop Boss, and he's going to have all the rune marks we've seen for the leader, the triple, and the flight. And he's also going to be able to use the Backstabbing Mob and Sneaky Stab. He's got a movement 8, toughness 5, can take 24 wounds, and it's 4 attacks at a range of 2, and strength 5, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So there's extra 15 points again, just moving us up from a regular squig hopper to a Boingrop, and another option as a boss or leader, and again doing some serious damage here. I don't know if I'd use the Boingrop Bounder or squig hopper bosses as my leader. I really like the Moon Clan boss on Giant Cave Squig. I think that's an awesome model, and we covered that in the previous parts 1 and 2 of the Gloomspite Gitz deep dives if you want to check that out. But that sums up all the cards now. That's the fighter cards and all the abilities and all the contents of the WARCRY Gloomspite Gitz card pack. Let me know what you think about the contents of this card pack in the comment section below. It'd be great to hear your thoughts, and if this is something you'd be interested in picking up. I really like the card packs. For this one, I just think it's a shame they don't include a couple of other options, like the Moon Clan boss on Giant Cave Squig, or the Sneaky Snuffler, especially with that Sneaky Snuffler card already existing in the WARCRY Gloomspite Gitz box set. I think they could have easily put that in. But this is great though, I'm really happy with this. I can certainly make use of it for the Zarbags Gitz and the Cave Squig and Squig herder set that I've got, and then just add in a couple of Squig hoppers in. This will be great. And then I'll just have to use the book, so that the Harbingers of Destruction book, so that I can include a sneaky stuffler and that main boss on the giant cave Squig. I'll put a link in the description below in case you're looking to pick up the Harbingers of Destruction book. And it's a great expansion book with loads of great information, lots of narrative, and all the cards you need. So with that book, you don't even need to buy the card packs. And at the price of these now, compared to the book, with the price going up on the card packs as they're harder to get hold of, it's much more better value-wise to get that book. But when you play, I do find that the cards are a lot better to have next to you, and it's easier than printing them off for sure. But that'll be an affiliate link to Element Games, and you can save up to 20% there. Won't cost you anything extra, and I get a small commission for every sale made through that. And that really helps support the channel, and I really appreciate it. So thanks so much for that. That's awesome. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page. And thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out. And you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'll be great to see you there. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it's given you a good insight into what you get in the card pack, and then you can make a decision as to whether or not this is something you'd like to pick up. But thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.